fellow TIs. I want to talk about Freemasons, Feminists, and the CIA. I want to state that I'm Puerto Rican. I'm not anti-Semitic. I'm not against women's rights. I'm actually a supporter of women's rights. But at the same time, I'm not into radical feminism. I'm not a part of a feminist group. That's just not my cup of tea. I'm not into the LGBT thing either. So in 2003, I experienced a dramatic increase in targeting. Prior to that, I was targeted by Freemasons. And I was targeted by a woman from Langely, Virginia that works for the CIA. Afterwards, I started having more and more encounters with women. Some of them were honeypots. I'm not going to go into all the stories because it's so many, but many times I was nearly killed. I was taken to homes by these women, which were taking me to their ex-boyfriends' houses. And every time I was nearly killed, shot, stabbed, hurt. One threw a bowling ball at me. One tried to stab me with a knife. I had to hold his wrist back and run out the house. Another one tried to blow me away with a shotgun. The list goes on. After this happened 4 times in a month, I knew that I was being targeted in a very slick way where these people were trying to kill me off, but in a discreet way by utilizing other people. Since the town was small, I started talking to some of these guys. I confronted them, the ones that tried to hurt me. And I bought them a beer. I said, look, after years had passed by one I would bump into here and there. And I told them, I said, look, I just want to know, how long were you with this woman for? Because I believe that what occurred was a setup. And some of these guys would say like, oh, a month or 2. The longest was 3 months. So I knew right off the bat then that I was being set up. And when I talked to these guys, they were like, hey, it's a possibility. A year or 2 later passes after talking to the last person out of this bunch, nearly killed me. This lady was Asian, and I slept with her for about 2 weeks, off and on. I was crazy about her. And after 2 weeks, she told me, I'm being paid to sleep with you. She showed me the sheriff's card, his name, the information they were seeking. To make a long story short, I was under investigation for something in 1996. Passed a polygraph test, volunteered to take it, allowed a warrantless search of my house with no warrant. Wasn't involved. I found myself being harassed by feminists and Freemasons and people that work for the CIA. They investigate cases involving the military. I was also harassed by people in the U.S. Air Force. All through my 20s, 30s, even in my 40s. The U.S. Air Force, from my understanding, must have a partnership with the CIA, because I was indeed being harassed by both of them, especially the CIA at a few airports. One in particular was the Philadelphia airport, where I went with a relative. I was seeing them. They have no criminal record. They're married to an attorney. Celebrating Christmas. They dropped me off, and we were told we can bypass all checkpoints. This is before that fast pass program that DHS has now even started. When I get to the gate, I'm greeted by people in black suits and black ties wearing black shades. No one's wearing shades except them. And I'm seated with these people. that turn their head and look at me the entire flight, very close to my face, like literally, like I would say 11 inches. I asked to move seats, but there was no seats left. And this started occurring on multiple flights for years. And I would file complaints about it. I'd be seated with armed people. I'd be harassed. At times, I'd be seated between two children, and a person behind me would be laughing, wearing a suit when I look back, and the whole plane would be nearly empty. When I'm asking for when I originally had asked for a seat towards the bathroom, when I look back, there's no one seated there. So whoever was doing this had to have some swag, some power, to be able to change my seats and treat me like a terrorist, even in schools. Through the years, I started documenting state by state pictures of women with short hair harassing me. Jewish people at schools, rabbis going there to harass me. People in the LGBT community, Mexicans, minorities. And I'm Puerto Rican, so I'm a minority myself. I have nothing against minorities. The people which were tormenting me that were Jewish belong to organizations which have been known to have their own little peaceful protests with signs saying they're against white supremacy. But then when you look at what Palestinians go through, it makes me kind of wonder, are these people being hypocritical? I feel really bad for Palestinians. I'm not a Muslim, I'm a Christian with conservative beliefs. So the women's suffrage movement, which started right after Karl Marx's Communist Manifesto, shows the links of feminism. We see now that some places are allowing men and women to use the same bathroom. No joke, I was in Orlando one day, and I went into the men's bathroom. Women started walking in, I'm urinating. I was like, oh my God. I was like, excuse me, ma'am. I'm urinating. Please get out of here. And they're like, no, this is a gender neutral bathroom. I'm like, what? So perversion is being normalized. And if you say anything against it, you can be slandered as being anti-Semitic, racist, when you just believe in family values and some decency in God. This anti-God movement, based on gang stalking, is even filled with Christians. There's churches which are going along with this. There's humanist organizations which are going along with this. Select members, Freemasons, secret societies. A lot of groups which are supposedly fighting for social equality are profiting off of gang stalking. There are some Jewish Freemasons which clearly state that the goal of Freemasonry is communism. And to have control over lodges, they will sometimes have Jewish worshipful masters. Hold on one second. Looks like I got a cough here. So they're masters in their lodges. And they adapted this Kabbalah, Jewish fables to control people. So radical feminism isn't something good if it promotes segregation to the point where men and women are segregated under the guises of social equality. Society is being transformed, and it's happening quick. And a lot of this is due to very, very rich people pumping out money for social engineering. And the CIA has a history of supporting this. Let me give you an example. A while back, there was an operation, I believe it was in Iran, involving some Israelis. which were being detained, and the CIA helped to rescue these guys. Did you know that the CIA arrested 5 people right after 9/11, which were celebrating the downfall of the World Trade Center with the van wrapped with the World Trade Center on it? And when I made a story about Zim Israeli Shipping Company, which is partially a Mossad front, partially owned by them, I was attacked. I was already a target. But to make a long story short, I was given a pen by a World Trade Center relief worker. He didn't give me that exact pen. He just said, just grab any one. It was to get information from him to write down concerning jobs helping with the BP oil spill. And he would sell rubble and pens on the internet. We were chit-chatting at a waffle shop. After a while, I just decided to do research on the organization, the company listed on that pen. Made a video, made no accusations. I was being targeted by the CIA, Freemasons, LGBT. Like, how dare you? You better take that video down. Well, guess what I did? I took the video down. And I had foreign governments, people following my YouTube channel. Gaddafi, his foundation. Matter of fact, it was his last line of communication before the nation's telecommunications was pretty much shut down. I had all types of followers following my page because of that video all throughout the world, in different countries. A lot of political figures. I was shocked because I'm not a politician. So there must have been some type of truth in this, or someone concerned this information would get out for them to target me. I went through a weird period in my time in my 20s, 30s, and 40s. So off and on, where I'd have women park next to my vehicle and run to open up doors for me. And they wouldn't just, like, you know, you go into a gas station, someone in front of you just kind of holds that door open for you, so that way you can walk in right behind them, just being polite. No, these people would actually get the door and put it all and hold it to their breast, to the right breast, and get all the way against the wall and, like, wait for me to go in. I can literally be in my car, they would just sit there waiting for me for minutes, sometimes 3 minutes. And then once I'd walk in, they'd go in. So these people had some type of issue with me, and they were trying to do something to me to demoralize me. And they were using women to do it. It wasn't policing. These people were trying to belittle me, demoralize me, and harass me. How would the CIA like it if I started doing that to them? Right outside their CIA office where they eat next door at a Mexican restaurant. Send women in to open up doors and use kids to spit nearby them. I would never do that. How would FBI agents feel? How would state attorneys feel, which are male, that have their records cleaned where you can't even track them down, but they exit state attorneys' offices nationwide to have lunch? How would you feel if you were in that position? You know, state attorneys have been actually supporting the CIA, and that when they're busted, by law it has to be kept secret. The FBI keeps it secret. The U.S. Air Force and CIA have killed people overseas, but they've still have given me a hard time for something which I have cooperated to the max. And to this day, I will offer $10,000 US to anyone in the government which can find me to fail a polygraph test. My email, my messenger you can contact me on my messenger on Facebook. My username is restricted75921, and I won't fail it. MRIs, polygraph, true serum, I won't fail because I do not even know the person that was killed. But guilt by association. I'm sure my old friends are probably targeted themselves.
Quarter mile, keep left.
I can go on for literally hours about my experiences with Freemasons, Feminists,
Left.
LGBT, Israelis, Mexicans, transgendered. I mean, I can go on for hours. I'm making this video pretty much to just vent and to share how I feel, because I don't believe that anyone would like to experience anything like this. And for years, I mean, what's the purpose? What are you trying to organize? What are you trying to apply in our schools and communities? What is your purpose? You've already harassed someone. Why can't you stop? You've already made your point.